Broadcasting live from the Newsmax studio in New York City, here is Steve Malzberg.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, lots of talk. First of all, Eric Cantor announcing officially that he will resign his position as House Majority Leader effective July 31st. So that is official. They will hold new elections shortly before that to have one in place after his resignation takes hold. Also, lots of talk about the children who are being encouraged, according to some, by the president, by the administration, to come from Central America. The administration, according to some, is encouraging parents from all over Central America to send their kids via Mexico across our border into this country. And they're now being housed in camps. Darrell Issa says children will die because of this. It is a health issue. It is an issue on so many different levels. Let me let you hear some of a report, if we can do that. Ned Potter with this report, and this is number 43.
The unaccompanied children are being bused to the U.S. Border Patrol station in Nogales, Arizona, after overflowing detention facilities in South Texas. More than 700 children from the Central American countries of El Salvador, Honduras, and Guatemala are housed together now in a converted warehouse where they are screened by authorities. With even more kids en route, federal officials are scrambling to provide enough portable toilets, cots, water, food, and showers as the state supplies vaccines for children, some very young, who've been through a rough ordeal even after they were caught.
Our children who have not taken a bath in 9 days, they're still wearing the same clothes.
What is going on here? What is happening to our country? Watch.
October, more than 47,000 unaccompanied children, mostly from Central America, have been apprehended trying to enter the U.S. illegally. Just this morning, this group from El Salvador, ages 9 to 18, was picked up by Texas police after crossing the Rio Grande in search of their parents, already here.
Todos veníamos cuidándonos.
This girl saying of their journey, "We all took care of each other, the little ones we would send up front."
All right, folks, it's a terrible situation. It's a horrific situation. And no matter who's responsible, no matter who, whether some Republicans have laid back and or not, the fact of the matter is, as Senator Portman told us on this show before, earlier today, the President of the United States needs to tell the Central American parents, do not send your children here. All right, folks, we're coming back right now with Tom Fitton, but first we're going to watch this.
They work hard, they love their country, they want to be school teachers, they want to serve in the military, they want to run businesses, they have innovative ideas. They are the best that we have. And the president's frustration with the fact that he couldn't get Congress to act on the DREAM Act just got to the point where he said, I'm going to have to do what I can do. Now, it's not a solution. It's a stopgap measure. They're not on a path to citizenship. They can stay here. Every 2 years they have to reapply. So it's not the solution. But you cannot look into the hearts of these young people and say there's nothing we can do when we actually did have the power to do something.
All right, that was Valerie Jarrett a couple of years ago, and joining us now, as promised, is Tom Fitton, president of Judicial Watch, and by the way, author of the great book, which is now out in paperback, The Corruption Chronicles, which we'll talk more about. Hey, Tom, welcome back.
Hey, Steve, good to be with you again.
Thank you very much. All right, let's talk about what is going on our borders and in our military bases. Now, I think 3 military bases. What's going on in the state of Arizona. What this president is doing in encouraging Mexicans to send their kids, their children, to this country, and they're now being kept in camps with health concerns, sexual assault concerns, all kinds of, as I mentioned, disease concerns. And this is growing and growing. What on earth is going on here in this country?
Well, as Valerie Jarrett says, they're helping the children. They're helping the children by putting their lives at risk. The Obama lawlessness, granting amnesty to illegal aliens. It's not, quote, children, they're young adults mostly, or at least many of them are, has caused this humanitarian crisis. What's being reported abroad in Honduras and places, our investigation has found, is that they're telling you, you get across the border, You may be in a camp for 3 or 4 months, but then they're going to send you to your family, and if your family's there in the U.S. already, you'll be sent to them. And it's this lawlessness that is causing this massive influx that is overwhelming our systems on the border. And it's not just a border issue. Every town is a border town when it comes to illegal immigration. The administration is sending these illegal aliens, dumping them in Arizona from Texas. They're moving them into Oklahoma. They're even moving them up here to Maryland. So there's no part of the country that's not going to be impacted by this humanitarian crisis. These are the sorts of stories we're used to reading about in refugee camps in Syria and Iraq or in Afghanistan. Now we have it on the border thanks to the president's lawlessness.
You know, Senator Rob Portman was with us earlier, and he said the president needs to tell, like, the people, make it clear, a message to Mexico and everyone else in Central America: don't send your kids here. The law has not changed. We have not had immigration reform. Everything is the same. Keep your kids with you. But he'll never do that. He wants this to happen.
The president can't say that, though, Steve. And frankly, you know, the Republican senators and congressmen who've allowed him to get away with this lawlessness are partly responsible for this, because they've allowed it to go on. There is amnesty. They know if you get here, you have a virtually zero chance of being removed if you make it into the interior of the United States.
And you know,
there's no way they can do one, which is grant amnesty to people here illegally and tell folks on the other side of the border, don't come here because you're not going to get it. Because that's not a credible argument to these people. They're not stupid. They weren't born yesterday. We say no amnesty. What do they say? What do they hear? They hear amnesty.
Yeah, and they see amnesty. But, you know, this health crisis that could result from this, especially you're talking about moving these children all over the country. Who knows what vaccinations, shots they haven't had, or, you know, what their health records themselves are. I mean, this is just a Pandora's box of disaster waiting to happen.
It's a public health crisis for sure. We don't have the capability, and the government is afraid to put the resources there because it would reflect, again, the true scope of the crisis, to protect the public health and to screen these individuals as they come across the border or turn them away. You know, I imagine that. For communicable diseases. And you know what's outrageous about it? These illegal alien supporters, these illegal aliens are in a bind, and their lives are being put at risk as a result of these policies. So if you like illegal aliens, you'll want to stop the lawlessness at the border because they're unprotected as a result, and they're being put in situations, these camps and these overcrowded facilities that place them at further risk.
Your organization, Tom, has done yeoman's work. I mean, you're responsible for the Select Committee on Benghazi and so many other great things and documents related to the IRS scandal. What's the latest that you've come up with through your FOIA requests and investigations with regard to Benghazi?
Well, we're still pursuing Benghazi, and you know what's interesting is, you know, Hillary's out there now saying that she has notes that she took on Benghazi, and Congress can't get them. You know, I'm wondering if they are withholding these notes and whether they've been responsive to our Freedom of Information Act requests. So that's on our list of things to get to. Benghazi is a scandal not because of what the administration did. I mean, in part because of what the administration did, but it's also a scandal because of the cover-up. And Hillary Clinton just admits that she has notes that arguably are responsive to subpoenas and Freedom of Information Act requests by Judicial Watch. And she's telling Congress, oh, you can read about it in the book. That's not the way the government's supposed to work. It's not the way the law is supposed to be followed. But, you know, as I affectionately refer to Mrs. Clinton, St. Hillary of the grand jury, the law doesn't apply to her.
Well, so you're going to follow up legally on and request these notes, or now that you know about their existence?
I didn't know about their existence until I read about it this morning, and you can bet we're going to be following up on them.
Excellent, excellent. I'm sure you will. And if anybody could get the notes, unfortunately, and no rip at you, it won't be Congress, it'll be you. And that's a good thing. You know, as long as we get them, and like I said, you do yeoman's work. And just one more thing on Hillary, Catherine Heritage, went by the chronology in the book. And according to Hillary's own writings, it was Hillary, who issued the statement linking Benghazi to the video, according to Hillary's own words, before she even called President Obama on the night of the attack to provide an update. So she invented, apparently, the video.
Well, you had an interesting confluence. You had all the Hillary people trying to protect her as she was setting up, obviously, what is now a run for the presidency. And, of course, the Obama administration generally was trying to protect Obama as he was seeking re-election. It was really a mix made for disinformation for the American people.
All right, let's talk about the really great book, The Corruption Chronicles, and now out in paperback. Refresh people in case they didn't get it when it was first released.
It's a great book. Glenn Beck is calling it the Encyclopedia Britannica of Government Corruption. And I love the fact the paperback is coming out the week Hillary's book is out, because there's a great section on Clinton corruption. If you want to know about Mrs. Clinton and Clinton corruption generally, get our book. It's the antidote. It's the truth, which is an antidote to what's out there now. You know, I wonder, and maybe this doesn't fall under corruption, and maybe it's not in your book, but there's so much, as I've been saying the past couple of days. You know, people talk about Barack Obama. He was a disciple of Saul Alinsky's writings and whatnot. Hillary Clinton was offered an internship by Saul Alinsky. That's how close she was to him. Now, she turned it down to take another avenue, but she knew him. She also had her own quote-unquote religious figure. I won't compare him to the Reverend Wright, but nonetheless an influence, a big leftist influence on Hillary. Sure. Hillary's writings on the children, about how children should have the same rights as adults. I mean, there's so much radical news on her that's gone and buried. I wonder if it'll ever come out. And unlike Lewinsky, I think these things that I just mentioned do have bearing and are important. Well, in terms of her policies, you know, everything you don't like about Obama, everything everyone doesn't like about Obamacare was likely in Hillary Care. And when you look at the Hillary Care documents that we looked at when she tried to impose her version of Obamacare on the American people, you see the same fights and arguments taking place that we now see today. So, I mean, if you like Obamacare, you would have really hated it. If you hate Obamacare, right, you would have really hated Hillary Care. So she was to the left of Obama on health care. And you're right, she's an ideologue, you know, but like Obama, I think she's personally corrupt. And, you know, that she has every right to run for office. Well, Tom, we're out of time, but we can't lie and avoid the law. We will check out the Corruption Chronicles paperback edition and see what's written in there along those lines by you and your fine people there at Judicial Watch. Thank you so much, Tom. Keep up the good work. Hey, thanks. And get those notes. Okay. All right, folks. We're just getting started here. Lots more ahead. Don't go away.